Good morning. Sorry, I just had to turn some music off because I'm fed up of getting copyright claimed every single time we do a stream. So we need to learn a lesson from that. I hope everyone's good. I hope everyone's having a decent week. What are we now? Thursday. So a little over halfway through the week, couple of trading days left. Personally, a couple of percent up, so everything's all good there. We are looking at a couple of different things this morning. Euro USD, I'm not really that bothered about at the moment. 120 needs to go to be able to look for any shorts, and 120.80 needs to go to look for longs. We can see if we just pull this up, where we're just trapped into a little bit of consolidation at the moment. 50 does give us the potential to short up to 2080. Is that particularly worthwhile? A great use of allocation of potential margin and funds? Probably not in the grand scheme of things. There's probably better places that we can put our money this morning and over the rest of today. So at the moment, Euro USD not really doing much in the way of chucking potential positions at us. Thought that we might see something, but we do have Euro monetary policy today, which is obviously a big thing. So with the Euro monetary policy, we're likely to see some form of move around about lunchtime today as that comes out. Naturally, if we're in positions, we need to be risk-free by then. If we're not in positions, then unfortunately, the closer we get to that time, the less likely we are to be able to take a potential trade. Currently, personally, in Euro Swiss short from 33 yesterday. The rejection that we saw and the failure to break the highs. We've now broken back inside of this range, and we're just testing this little area of support and resistance, this little liquidity zone that we've kept jumping out of. So as long as we're trading below that, I'm relatively comfortable to continue to hold a short position now until a run to 110 happens, and then obviously we see where we go from there. If history is anything to go by, then the Euro statement today probably not going to be overly positive, but we shall see what happens. They're probably just going to give a very cautious approach, so not going to be a negative speech or statement by any stretch of the imagination, but also not going to be positive, and therefore when that happens and that scenario typically plays out, we tend to see pushes to the downside with that. Obviously, the US dollar is incredibly weak at the moment, and we do have unemployment figures out a little bit later this afternoon, so that is probably going to weigh a little bit on how the market plays out this morning as well. So we keep an eye on it. Realistically though, I don't see us getting an entry unless we're already in Euro Swiss. I don't see us getting an entry on any position at the moment this side of lunchtime, unless we see also Euro Oz present potential with a position as well. But we shall see what happens. Breaks below 2020 though. Definitely be looking to carry that short into 1950 and 1880, which is obviously where we were looking last week. Euro Swiss, as I say, we're rejecting away at the moment. Massive area for the pair at the moment. We're just sat in this consolidation region. I would have liked to have seen a breakout of it by now. When you come out to the 4 hours, you can just see that we've done nothing really. We've been inside of this little 50 pip window all week long. Would have liked to have broken through, but that hasn't happened just yet. 110 holds all the keys to the potential downside at the moment, but for all the time that we're trading below this 25 level, this 30 region, then obviously that is giving us some insight that we're probably likely to see a continuation to the downside. We just need to let it do its thing and play out. If we pop back above 30, naturally it's time to get out, take the money and run. So we will see what happens here. Pound New Zealand, that wasn't what I wanted to see. 2 seconds, I'm just going to close out of this. When I looked just now, we were significantly better off trading around the 60 level. So to have fired back up, it's given away 0.5%. That's not ideal. So I was just involved in a position from 93.90, just a retest. If we come, we'll just use a normal level. Come up and just see the areas of support that we've had through this region before. When obviously we saw the push down below 94 yesterday that we were talking about for the short, we started to come back to the upside. I was fairly confident that we were going to see this level hit and reject from it. So I set a sell limit, which was triggered about an hour ago, a little over an hour ago. And that was running about 30 pips up. But that has very quickly changed this morning, and now we're starting to see this little consolidation region. I'd much rather bank the 15 pips that I have now, which I've done, so we'll just close that off. And then obviously look to get involved again, probably around about 93.50. And then go from there, really. Breaks back above 94. If that were to happen, then obviously attentions might need to turn to potential long positions. What I am more expecting at the moment, if I am honest, is to see a form of head and shoulders occur and a break back below 93.50, leading into drops back down to 92. I do think 92 will get hit at some point. There isn't really any pound fundamentals that are going to cause us any major concerns or moves. There's retail sales tomorrow and PMI tomorrow morning, but obviously that's a little bit away, so we just see what happens. Not particularly bothered by it at the moment, if I'm honest. So we'll see what happens with the pair. Obviously that little push back to the upside is not ideal. Chances are that we'll reject and head back down, but I'd rather bank my profit now, early in the morning. Still gives me a little over 0.5% of profit. So all profit is good profit at the end of the day. Nothing wrong with banking our money. We can always enter again at 93.50 if that so happens. Above 94, like I say, we could potentially see longs back to the upside, back up towards 96.20. Still don't rule that move out. But at the moment, for all the time that we're trading below 94, shorts have to be the preferred option. It just makes more sense to be involved in potential short positions at the moment than it does in potential longs. If we just go through and have a look at Pound Oz and Pound CAD also, obviously CAD had a massive day yesterday with their rate statement, a quantitative easing program having a few changes, so it's positive news. Again, we would need to see a significant push, so back above 180. Obviously, we managed to take shorts yesterday below 180. Although, obviously, we spoke about the potential for us to reject away, which we ended up seeing. from the 180-80 region. So we ended up pushing back down, broke that consolidation. I think if we end up with some form of engulfing pattern here, the chances are that we push back towards 180-40, somewhere around 30-40, somewhere around that region, where we might see a potential break back down. For now, I don't feel like there is a potential position here until best case we got below 79.50, but even then we've got a level of support and resistance at 79.20, so it seems illogical to get involved in that position now until 79.20 goes. When that does happen, if that does happen, then we would see quite a significant drop into 78.20 anyway, so there's no need to rush a position here. I think for the time being, we'll see if we get a push back towards 80-20, 80-40, somewhere in that little pocket here. And if we get that, then like I say, we can look to potentially long it. If we see rejection away from there, then obviously we can short it. Pound CAD sort of drop on every CAD pair. Dollar CAD more in particular. We'll just close that off because that's done. We saw that quite a significant drop to the downside on these pairs yesterday, breaking some pretty key levels on their way. For this pair now, I would thoroughly anticipate a retest of 74.80. If we get a retest of 74.80 and reject, then we'll look to short it. If we break back below 73.50, we will look to short it. Back above though, have to turn attentions to the potential longs. Not convinced I want to take it until 75.50 is taken out though. I just don't feel like, what have we got in between here? $70 pips for what's probably likely going to need to be a 30 or 35 pip stop loss. That just seems illogical at this point in time, and not something that is worthwhile taking. So probably going to have to leave this as things stand. It doesn't seem to overly be a position. I want to go back to Pound New Zealand though, as that is something that I am actively watching. One thing I do want to have a quick look at is the potential for Swiss yen. Obviously, we've been trading around the lows. We had a very brief breakout yesterday, and we're trading around the lows currently. We're still back below 118, which is nice. Obviously, we've seen that push up this morning. So still very much below 1770. I think 1770 needs to go, and we need to get those closes below. Ideally, I would imagine on the 4-hour time frame, a close below would be very, very much welcomed. If we can get that, we're likely to see that continuation of that push. But until then, I'm not particularly sold on either direction, if I'm honest. My coffee is very bitter this morning. I don't know why. But yeah, we shall see. I'm going to go back to Euro USD again because I feel like that presents a decent opportunity for later in the day. Gold, no surprises seeing us back up. Obviously, we've seen some manic moves and some very odd things over the last couple of days. That failure to break back below 75, obviously a godsend. We wouldn't have wanted to be too involved in potential shorts on this. At the moment, longs obviously look like the best probability, but realistically, not until I would wait until 18 goes now. So until 18 whole number is taken out, I wouldn't bother looking at potential longs on gold. However, I would be tempted to short it should 1780 be taken out. So I know that's a good 200 pip move, or 130 pips from where we are at the moment, but that is as good as it's going to get. Do you just want to take a quick look at Aussie dollar too? Obviously, we're now trading back around 77.50. We established that support that we were talking about yesterday morning, and the potential for that long back to the upside. We've come into that 50 level that we were obviously saying would be the likely target. Seeing price stall, but it looks like we're breaking back above that at the moment. So longs on Aussie dollar look probable. That does potentially give us a position on Euro Oz, but we shall see. We shall keep an eye on it. But Aussie dollar longs look probable at the moment also. Dollar CAD, obviously we've seen the sell-off yesterday as a result of positive CAD fundamentals, fired very quickly into our 24.50 level. Again, established some support and seen a push back to the upside. Starting to reject away from 125 though this morning, and that's a big level for the pair. So to push back below 125 would give us a run back to 24.50. Now, I know that there's 50 pips on the table there, but I am not comfortable taking a position now until 24.50 is taken out. We've seen how strong a level this can be time and time again. There is no point getting involved in potential short positions when at best our first target can only be 24.50. From there, obviously, if we can break back below, then we have a 100 pip drop. Happy days. But until that happens, it just seems illogical to want to try and take potential earlier entries. However appealing they do seem, I would very much wait for the break, because the chances are that you're either going to reject away from 24.50 back to the upside, or you're just going to sit in consolidation. And yes, you might be 40, 30 pips up, whatever it is, but at that point in time, have to work out whether that is potentially worth the heartache of flitting around in consolidation. You could potentially consolidate between these two levels, this region, for a fair while, as there is a serious lack of potential fundamentals for either pair now. Obviously unemployment claims, but a lack of fundamentals for either pair. As we finished the week out, we've had the major stuff with the CAD, so that remains to be seen. Breaks back above 25.20, probably going to lead into 25.80. So for those that are comfortable trading between those levels, then there is definitely a potential trade 25.20 up to 25.80 on the pair if that presents itself to us. Euro Oz. I really like Euro Oz for a potential short. I'm out of this position, so there's no point looking at that at the moment. But below 55.20, obviously we spoke yesterday about the 55.50 level being a potential area that we could break back below. We saw a break and we've seen that swing, and we're now kind of just trading around this level. We were trading below it last night, and when I went to bed, I really quite liked the potential for the short. That clearly hasn't stayed into this morning, but we also haven't broken too far above either. So there's a lot of potential surrounding this level. We need to get back below. Realistically now, though, we're not going to get an entry until 55 is taken out. Just because, best case, we see the rejection we want. We need to get below these little spikes, this little window at 55. No point getting involved for the sake of the extra 15 pips. We might as well just let 55 be taken out and take the short then. We still have a decent target down at 54.20, so we let it run, play its course. The likelihood is we're only going to need around about 25 to 20 pips as a stop loss. should a position present itself to us. So there's definitely potentials. Euro Swiss looks nice. We're starting to reject away again, something that we wanted to see. Pound New Zealand, not so nice, but like I say, below 93.50 now would definitely give us a potential trade. In fact, I am going to set a sell stop at 193.50 so that I don't need to be watching it. So yeah, there's a few things to keep an eye on this morning, a few potential levels. Obviously, dollar CAD below 24.50 looks nice. Euro dollar, I just don't feel like we're going to get anything from it today, if I'm honest. Euro Swiss, we should already be involved in or thereabouts. If not, 110 is the magic number. Pound New Zealand are below 93.50. I don't really like any of the other pound pairs currently. Euro US, Aussie dollar, potential longs if we can reject away. If we break back above maybe 70.70, that would probably be a good enough excuse to potentially enter longs on the pair now. CAD, we've just been through Euro Oz. Definitely below 55.50. I'm not convinced I'm sold on any potential longs at the moment until 56 goes again. But yeah, I hope everyone has a decent day, whatever you're up to, and I will catch up with people in a bit. I am going to try and enjoy some sunshine if it is as warm as it looks outside. Have a decent day, and I'll catch you later.